Guys, I'm standing here in this beautiful spot north of Riva del Garda, in the Riva del Garda region in the mountains. It's early in the morning and it's a very good time to talk about my luggage setup that I've used now for the past 12 days on my trip. It's a new setup for 2021. I'm going to go through all the bags, why I bought them, what I liked about it, and how they performed on the trip on this video. Now, before we get into the single pieces that I've got, let's talk briefly about soft luggage and hard luggage. Obviously, this is soft luggage that I chose, and there are many good reasons why I went with the soft luggage. And there's a lot of advantages of doing that. I did a video not too long ago where I talk about all the weight that you add through the accessories, especially the accessories when you start adding luggage system, luggage racks, and especially hard luggage, that just the net weight of the luggage will add so much weight to your bike. That is one of the main reasons why I'm going with soft luggage. You can easily add a good 30 kilograms just in luggage racks, hard cases, and a top case. Now, all this stuff here is all my gear packed, including the soft bag. That's 30 kilograms, and that's already heavy on the bike. I can't imagine adding another 30 kilograms. That's one of the main reasons why I decided to go with soft luggage. Now, the second reason is if you look at the rear of the bike, it's got still a very slim profile, which makes a lot of sense when you start traveling these very narrow roads. This is this is as wide as a single car, and having, well, maybe a bit wider than a single car, but there are roads that are smaller than this, and it's nice to have a setup where your bike is still very slim. If you add sort of width with hard cases, that's not an advantage in this part of the world. The next feature that I really like about these soft luggage systems, especially the ones that I'm using here, there's a lot of good products on the market, is the waterproofness. These especially, they come waterproof out of the box, which is a very, very important feature for me and a big advantage of having these. And last but not least, there's the price point. Soft luggage will likely always be cheaper than going with hard luggage. Most of those hard luggage systems are quite expensive. They can easily set you back 1,000, maybe 1,500 euros by the time you add all the accessories that you need for it. So it's a lot of weight for a lot of money. And even though this wasn't a budget solution, the solution that I showed last year and the year before that I've used for almost 100,000 kilometers, that was a budget solution. That was just one big soft bag for 40 euros and then a tank bag on top of that would cost like 120. That was a really cheap solution. This is not a quite cheap solution, but still cheaper than most hard cases. Now, guys, I will say there's a huge disadvantage, a huge con when it comes to soft luggage, and that is, of course, you can't lock up your luggage. It's so much easier. If you have hard cases, there's a lock on it. I mean, it's not bulletproof, but it's a lot more tamper-proof than any kind of soft luggage. It's very easy to get into the zippers and into the bags to take them off the bike. It's much harder to do when you have something that you can lock up. So if you need something that you can lock up, if you want to, even in this part of the world, that's relatively safe, but if you want to check out tourist attractions and you want to get off the bike and leave the bike unattended for a long time, then hard luggage will allow you a lot more security than you can get with any kind of soft luggage. So guys, with all that out of the way, let's start talking about the individual pieces that I have on the bike. I'm going to show you what I have on the bike, how it's mounted. I'll talk a little bit about why I picked it and how it performed on the trip. First, before I get into that, the one thing that I did really, really well, I had heavy rain days, 2 of the heaviest rain days I've ever had riding. All of my luggage stayed dry and the bag stayed waterproof. Okay, now there's one big thing that keeps annoying me when it comes to looking at any kind of bags or luggage solution for motorcycles, and that's the lack of waterproofness that most manufacturers for 95% of their products offer, and I can't get my head around it. There's 2 things that these luggage pieces have to do. They have to store your stuff and they have to keep it dry. And then when you look at most of the stuff that's on the market, they've got zippers, pockets, different mounting system, but the stuff isn't waterproof. I can't believe that they still make products and people still buy the stuff, because if you go on tour, and only if it's 2 weeks in the Alps, you will encounter rain at some point in time. And if the stuff isn't waterproof by itself and you have to cover it up with a rain cover and all that stuff, that to me is just absolute garbage design, and I can't understand why manufacturers make products, because it's not that hard to make luggage that is waterproof. And that even goes for hard cases. There are tons of hard cases out there that aren't waterproof. Then you still have waterproof liners and you have to monkey around with all that stuff. Why isn't that stuff from its design waterproof? And then the worst thing that then the marketing department does when you have all these subpar products is add something like water resistant. Water resistant is nothing but a BS term for it's gonna leak water eventually. So it means jack shit. I don't understand it. So I hope to see more products on the market. Now, luckily, there are plenty of products for the adventure community. Somehow, some people think that they encounter more rain than the rest of us riders that also ride on the road. But they make really good product, especially in the soft luggage category that is actually truly waterproof. And Enduristan and Touratech are not the only ones. There's plenty of others that make very good products that are 100% waterproof. So luckily, we have places to choose from. We don't have to buy the stuff that isn't really waterproof. So rant mode off. This stuff here, I went through 2 heavy rain days, probably the heaviest rain days I've ever had on a motorcycle, to a point where some of my equipment even failed, but the luggage and the bags did not. They kept everything dry and they did what they promised to do and keep the water out. They're purely waterproof. So alrighty guys, with all that out of the way, let's start talking about the stuff that I have on the bike. Briefly give you an introduction of all the individual pieces, why I picked them, how they worked for me, how they were installed, and maybe give you a quick peek what's inside of it. So let's start with the tank bag. This is the Enduristan Sandstrom. What is it? I forgot what it is. It's the smallest one they make, and I've done a video on that, so I'm going to link it up in the description. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but that's how it's installed. I did talk about customizing the mounting points here with the little sort of zip ties to make sure that I don't have to use the supplied harness. It worked really well for me. And then you see how it's attached here with the mounting points. Typical way to mount these Enduristan tank bags. I have tons of them. Like I said, this is the smallest one. Now the reason why I even went for a completely new luggage setup is because of the tank bag. The tank bag on my last trip in the West Alps, the off-road tip, was too big and was always getting in the way. So I was looking for a solution that would work off-road and on-road. I didn't want to have 2 different setups. I needed something that worked with a much smaller tank bag or no tank bag at all, which meant I had to push some of the stuff that was in the tank bag to the tail section of the bike. So that is the reason why I even looked at it. I was quite happy with the setup that I had, but for that particular reason, it didn't work. So that's why I started looking at new stuff. Back to the tank bag. Now what I have in the tank bag, and I can show you, give you a quick peek what's in it, is a couple of tools. This is just to adjust the suspension here basically. And then I have a few just doodads, mainly batteries for the cameras, and it's much easier to have them up front here because then I can change batteries out on the fly, especially with the Sony camera and the GoPro. I can sit on the bike and change the stuff out. Now I've got my sunglasses in here. I have the beacon for the Skydio drone. I've got my Osmo Pocket as a sort of quick run and gun camera, and I've got an external microphone set up here if I want to, you know, record videos and not use the internal microphone in that. This little pocket is pretty cool because it holds the additional SD cards if I should run out of, there's just a little case in here. Just a little case in here, holds the additional SD cards if I run out of memory before I run out of battery power. And the other thing, this was really good for all the water crossings that I just did. I could just leave the papers in the zipper pocket, or I can just leave them in here. Or if I would go to a toll booth, I can just take the ticket and put it in here. So it's so much easier to have some storage up front. Now this little thing here, I'm going to do a separate video on this. This is a personal location beacon, and that's like I said, that's for another video, another safety tool that I carry with me. And I see I have ND filters down here, different filters for the camera as well. So if the light gets low, I can put the clear filters on top. That's basically what I have in the tank bag. Okay, let's talk about the tail bag. Now, I did a video on the Touratech tail bag that I really liked, and I wanted to use. Well, there's one problem. I got a second drone that I needed to bring, and I needed to store somewhere on the bike, and I needed something large enough to store 2 drones and then some extra stuff in there. So I actually went with something that is not meant to be a tail bag. This is what they call a Pannier topper. So if you have hard cases on your bike, this thing will sit on the hard case. They come in different sizes. This is the large version, and there's a smaller version of that. So the large version is a bit wider, I think, and overall a little bigger. I just use it now as a tail bag, so I can mount it sort of sideways like this, or I can mount it sort of alongside with the bike if there's no other luggage on it. It works really well, and it's using that sort of, it's got these little clips and clamps that hook into parts of the frame and the bike, so it's really easy to mount. And the stuff that I have in here, and that is the main reason why I went away with the tank bag. Even the tank bag now, a big one, wouldn't fit all this stuff. Now, the way I have it organized is that the Skydio drone, that's the one I use for tracking shots, that sits on the very top. So if I want to use it, I can take the drone out, I can leave this unzippered and close this back up and start riding. The whole point of the setup is that I can get the drone in air in the fastest amount of time and put it back in as fast as possible. Now I can take this drone out if I am stationary, and that's when I use the DJI drone. And I've got little sort of soft case. It's a cable organizer really, and it fits perfectly in here. I'll take the water bottle out of the way so you can see better. So I've used a cable organizer to organize the remote control. One of the batteries, here's the second battery, and it's easy access and it gives some padding and keeps it protected. So I have a bit more time and I can take stuff out when I'm stationary and flying the drone. Usually don't fly this drone when I'm moving the bike. There's additional batteries and a charger, so I can actually charge stuff on the go. I can have a charging cable come in here and charge the Skydio batteries if I want to. And then there's just additional accessories for the GoPro cameras. These are rain gloves, and there's a small tripod, energy bars, more batteries, second GoPro. So there's just little doodads that I have in here, and you can see once you have the drones packed in here, this basically takes up the majority of the space. Half liter of water is also in here. So that's what's in the tail bag of the Enduristan bag. Let's talk about the saddlebags for a moment. Now, these saddlebags, they're actually all these products. They're the Touratech Extreme series. Was it Extreme? The Touratech Extreme series is actually not manufactured by Touratech. It's actually made all by Enduristan. So they're collaborating with Enduristan to make these products. That's why you have all these similarities in these two products. They're actually made all by Enduristan. Now, a lot of times when Touratech collaborates with another firm, they sometimes add a few touches themselves, design touches and changes that they do, and they've done the same with the saddlebag, and that is the reason why I went for the Touratech product rather than going with the original. Now, the things that were added to it that I really like first, these are 20-liter capacity bags. On each side it's 20 liters. That is bigger than what you will get with the Enduristan products. I think the biggest amount is 17 liters. They also have smaller versions of that, but they don't make 20 liters, 2 times 20 liters. So it's a big bike. I figured I need lots of storage, so I used the big one. The other thing that I really like, and you can see how it's used here, is that compression strap that they have in here. So there's a compression strap that you can use, so if it's kind of loose, and you can start compressing your luggage down to keep it a bit more snug. I think that's a good addition. The Enduristan bags do not have that. The other thing that comes included in the Touratech bag is a bottle holder. So you see you got a 3/4 liter bottle of water in here, but you can put chain loop in here, or I don't know, hairspray, whatever you want to do. But you can put bottles in here, at least on this side, not on the side where the muffler is. There's no space over the muffler, so that's pretty cool. And then last but not least, I really like the yellow interior. The whole idea of having a bright colored interior is an Enduristan idea. But of course it works really well with the Touratech colors. They're bright yellow, especially in these deep pockets. I think that's a pretty good idea, and that worked quite well for me. So that was 4 good reasons why I went with the Touratech product. Now if you want to see how they're installed, I mean, you can see it's sitting on the heat shield of the muffler, and there's still a gap between the hot metal. So they've been doing fine and just getting not even hand warm. But you have to kind of watch where you install them. The benefit of having these kind of saddlebags is you can take them off and there is no rack necessary. So you can just take them off and there's nothing left on the bike after you install them or after you remove them from a bike, and I think that's a huge advantage. And then last but not least, that's a very simple dry bag, and I went with this one because it kind of matched the saddlebags, but also it has the bright colored interior, which I really like. So it's also, you can see the yellow stitching here. It has the bright yellow interior in here, but other than that, just a 50-liter dry bag. A lot of the manufacturers make similar dry bags, and they're pretty solid, you know, with the roll tops here. It keeps it waterproof. At the moment, Touratech only makes 50-liter sizes. If you need different sizes, bigger or smaller, Enduristan has different sizes as part of their lineup. Okay guys, this almost concludes this kind of short review on the bags. I'm quite happy with them. There's a certain benefit of having multiple pieces and multiple pockets to put your stuff. I really appreciate it. Before that I had, I think it was 70 or 80, it was probably 70-liter capacity of a dry bag, and everything goes into the same bag. That means there's a lot of stuff you need to take out if you want to get to the bottom ends of it. Having sort of distinct 3 compartments where you can put stuff, it's a huge benefit, because I put some of the stuff in in the saddlebags that I don't need all the time. And especially when I was on the ferry, I only took the top bag, the dry bag with me, and I packed all the stuff I didn't need on that day in the saddlebag, so they could remain on the bike and I didn't have to schlep around all my equipment. That's pretty cool. Downside is, of course, more stuff takes longer to install. I'll have a video by the end of this video where I can show you how long it takes to just get everything ready to go. And I think that was recorded on day 4. I'm a bit faster now, but still it takes a few minutes to get everything sort of, you know, tied down to the bike, even if you have some of the straps already installed. But it takes a few minutes longer than my old setup. Alrighty guys, this concludes the video. I hope you found this useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. You have comments, leave them in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, ride safe and stay awesome. So let's see how long this is going to take to load up the bike. This is the 4th time I'm doing it, so it's probably going to get better over time, but let's see how long it takes. Done. If you're wondering what all the chatters are about, I'm in Croatia right now, so it's shortly past 8 on a Friday. There's lots going on here.